Welcome back, and yes, it's time to get into our first segment, the world of technology. We have Gabriel Abed with us again, as usual. Good morning, Gabriel.
Morning, Colin.
Morning, Gabriel.
You're not struggling anymore to get up. Are you looking so bright already, even on a bank holiday?
I haven't slept yet. I figured it was a better strategy. Just go all the way through, get home at 7 a.m., go to bed.
I am actually feeling that. I think that is what I would do next time. All right, so let's get back into something that we've probably discussed before, and I guess it probably is worth repeating because people probably still not getting the messages, and that's passwords and making them strong.
Yes. A password's only as good as how long you can make it. A password's strength is determined by three things: its complexity, its predictability, and its length. So the longer you make a password, the more complex you make a password, and the less predictable you make a password, the less likely it is a password can be guessed or cracked. If you look at a 6-character password in all lower cases, let's just give it a random phrase. If you look at that, that can probably be cracked in about, I would say, about 10 minutes with a good brute forcing program. Brute forcing is a program that goes through a list of characters and basically tests each event against the password, looking for the correct one against the login. Now, if you increase the password to 8 characters, that significantly increases the likelihood that that password will not be guessed. Now, if you then add some non-alphanumeric characters, that includes special characters like exclamation marks, dollar signs, percentage signs. You make some of the characters uppercase, lowercase, add in a few numbers, you've created yourself a very solid password that cannot be guessed by anyone and will take about 4,000 years for it to be cracked with today's computing technology.
Really?
So aim for about 8 characters, 8 to 9 characters. Make the password not a common phrase. You can use something, let's say, "Good morning Barbados" as your password, but change the O's to zeros, the D to capital D. Add a dollar sign in between every single word. Little things like that actually increase. Make a very big difference.
Well, one of the things, though, I mean, in the early days, I remember when I signed up for a Yahoo account a long time ago, you could use like 4 characters. But these days, a lot of sites are telling you at least...
Well, you got to remember, computing power is increasing as we go on in time. And the more that computing power increases, the easier it is for a user, or in the case of malicious activity, a hacker, to use a brute force program or rainbow tables to try to compute against your password. Basically, they run through dictionaries and dictionaries, large amounts of lists of just random texts that have possible passwords, and they test each event against your own password.
The point I was trying to make, though, is are we going to see like almost every site now saying, if you just type in like 6...
Oh yes,
they're going to say
most large modern websites like Facebook, Google, Apple, for example, most of those large modern websites actually have a password strength generator. It tells you how strong your password is. Yeah. You know, this password's fair, this password's good, correct. This is a safe password, etc.
People who use the same password for many, many things must be kind of scared right now. Is that one of the reasons why you should make it so strong, especially if you're the type of person who really cannot remember a dozen different passwords for different sites?
There's different tricks to remembering passwords for different websites. For example, you can take facebook.com and just add FB in front of your common password. Google, just add a G in front of your common password. It's just understanding your own legend and creating your own method of remembering a password. But ideally, do not use the same password for everything. Bad idea. Very bad idea.
I'm feeling very scolded and chastened right now. And speaking of Facebook, how many more times are they going to push the boundaries of that concept of online privacy?
Facebook,
honestly.
You know, Facebook is one company that actually looks at the general public and says, we don't care what you think. We're doing it anyway.
The auto-tagging.
Yes.
I didn't even know that occurred until I started to tag pictures. I think Colin was talking about that.
Correct. Well, June 8th, they released a feature called auto-tagging, where if you upload, say the 3 of us were standing in a picture, and I uploaded it, YouTube, based on facial recognition, if you were my friends, would be automatically tagged on Facebook. That could be a little bit iffy for privacy issues and users that want to stay under the radar. Maybe you're walking in the background of some picture and your friend takes it, he uploads it to Facebook, and you're tagged. It might get you in some trouble, but...
So do you have an option, though, to go through and...
If you go on Good Morning Barbados' Facebook page, which is facebook.com/MorninBarbados, without the G, just morning, similarly to how it's written right there, you can find, I wrote the 3 things I was talking about today, along with a link on how to deactivate the auto tagging feature. It is an option that they give you, an opt-out.
But is it complex? I mean, because one would think that if you're going to be auto tagging, it should be immediately, like there should be a little box underneath or something that says you just click that and you don't get auto tag.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, they made it opt-in, and now you just have to go and opt out of it. They forced it upon the users.
I know you said that it seems like they don't care, but why would it do it that way instead of the other way? Like, give you the opportunity if you wanted to auto tag rather than...
For the fact that A, users may not know about it, so the more general populace is using it, and B, you have to know about the feature, dislike the feature, then to go after deactivate it. But more than likely, users will just leave it on because they're unknowledgeable or they're okay with it.
Okay with putting up other people's information.
Correct.
I think one of the things that will bring home the danger of some of these automatic opt-in tags is when they start to work their way into the legal framework. We've already seen someone's Twitter feed and someone's Facebook page end up as evidence in court.
Yes.
And while it may be uncomfortable to be snapped in a picture with Gabriel Abed when I was supposed to be at work or at the supermarket or whatever else, that can be fixed within our social circles when it starts to trickle into privacy issues where companies are concerned. And that brings us back, I suppose, before we get into our final segment about the firewalling again. If you're online at work, how much policing does there need to be to prevent this kind of thing? Because at the end of the day, it's messy for your company to have to get you out of it, to get themselves out of it, the litigation costs, and it just, all from a few simple clicks.
Well, Facebook does what Facebook wants to do. I mean, they're the largest company in the world. And at the end of the day, when you're at work, you're meant to be doing your work and not on Facebook. I don't know how different companies will handle it and what measures they can take. I personally at work let my staff use Facebook seldomly. I don't stand behind them and say, hey, no Facebook.
Yeah.
But it's expected you won't abuse it. So if you do get caught when you say, oh, I'm homesick, then...
Don't be tweeting about being at the beach.
Correct. Correct.
All right, and Sony, they've made a breakthrough. They've had some arrests.
Well, they arrested
Anonymous.
Anonymous is a makeup of thousands of hacktivists around the world. Hacktivists, yes. They've arrested 3 guys that probably had a minor part to do with it. They maybe launched a distributed denial of service attack, which is a very minor version of what happened. I think more than likely is they're looking to pin the tail on somebody right now. So they arrested 3 guys, so they probably got IP logging. 3 guys who didn't sweep up their steps behind them. Yeah. And right now they've pinned the tail on them. And those 3 guys are looking at some good
Do you think they're going to be doing any waterboarding to try and get to the...
Wow, that's a question.
well, the name of the clan itself indicates that, good luck, Anonymous.
Yeah, Anonymous.
And these are guys that know the inner workings of the internet. They know how to cover their footsteps and not be found. If you wanted to, you could never be found online. It would take the best of the best, and these guys are the best of the best. They're working against authorities. So it's going to be pretty hard to catch those guys, in my opinion.
In the same way that in some cases people turn state's attorney, is there not ever a possibility where these guys can be brought on side?
Well, FBI claims that 1 in every 4 hackers is an informant. I read that up to 2 nights ago, so funny you should ask that.
I just think that, if they are the best of the best at doing the wrong things, why can't we bring them on
It's
side?
not necessarily the wrong things. You got to remember that. It's more likely, it's more along the lines of the moral regarding of the internet.
Yeah.
If I think it's going to be this way and the internet belongs to us, then we're going to do it this way, and no one's going to say otherwise. No government, no authority, no corporation.
With a moral flexibility there.
Correct.
I guess one could harken back to the whole Facebook auto tagging. Some group might decide, hey, wait a minute, what are they doing? And then suddenly Facebook gets an attack.
Well, Facebook's a little bit harder to get down. They have a very, very large set of data servers, so good luck to those guys. You'll be spending all month long trying to do something there.
All right, we're going to wrap up, but I have to get this in. I was traveling recently, and there was a Windows store that looked almost like an Apple store. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but on the same concept, they both like to borrow concepts from each other. So I'm pretty sure it's happened. I noticed that, well, I didn't notice, but I saw recently that a new Apple store was up and coming, and it got branded. Some geeks went outside of it and put up a Windows poster on it.
Oh, cheeky.
So they started a good little Apple versus Windows war.
Well, it's coming up to the home stretch of our discussion. We've been talking privacy, auto tags, Facebook. I'm very scared about all my passwords right now, but just make sure that
Well, don't be very scared. Just keep in mind, as long as you make your password secure, the three things to remember is length, predictability, and complexity. As long as you just keep those three in mind by using random characters, non-alphanumeric characters, I think you'll be fine.
All right, you'll be fine. Don't be scared. It is just the internet. Just do the things that are right. Thank you, Gabriel. And now we give you the opportunity to get home since yesterday.
And get some rest. Maybe next time we'll talk about the iCloud.
All right, that is our program. That is our World of Technology segment for today. Of course, we have so much more for you. Coming up, we have Peter on politics. Stay with us. It's Morning Barbados.